I think she may actually change a few things around this game after watching the replay.
That's a really good point there. We'll have to see. Of course, we had some very interesting discussions off camera while we were waiting for this game to begin. But for now, guys, let's get straight into game number 2. The map's going to be Ohana.
If you want to go ahead and introduce our players, that'd be...
All right, guys. We have on Ohana spawning in the top left position, representing the purple ZvZ colors. We have from Team Acer, currently 1 game down. Let's see what she can do to rectify this situation. It is Scarlett. And her opponent spawning in the bottom right position as the green ZvZ player. Ladies and gentlemen, impressing us with some fantastic play in game number 1. Can he close out the series 2-0 though? We'll find out. It is Sleep.
Very, very nice introduction. Of course, this is not the losers round, so neither of these players will be eliminated. This is the winners round 4, so thankfully, but it looks like Sleep is opting. Oh, this is going to be another extractor trick. Of course, he does in the first game. Yeah, so I mean, down a game, Scarlett watches the replay, making minor adjustments. I wonder if she'll do something a little bit different this game.
I think Scarlett's going to watch the replay, in all honesty, and see that the mutas didn't have their desired effect, and that Sleep was perfectly capable of defending against them, no problem whatsoever. So I would not be surprised to see Scarlett maybe mix it up and go for an infestation pit this game. That said, though, on Ohana, I mean, the cliffs between the main and the natural, we have the main and, of course, above the main as well, going into what would be the 5th base location. These are all locations that are actually quite useful to exploit by Mutalisks. So I really don't know. I, for one, am going to be really interested to see how Scarlett mixes it up. I think it could go a number of ways, and some might be better than others, but especially with the mind games going on in a mirror matchup after you watch a replay trying to guess what your opponent's doing as well, I think that Scarlett, anything is still on the table, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's an excellent point. You never know what's going through a player's mind, especially somebody as skilled as Scarlett. I mean, we've only witnessed her playing for, what, 6 to 8 months now, so we really, I mean, we have a decent idea of what she might be thinking as far as, you know, builds and concepts, but
for sure,
playing against a player of Sleep's caliber, it's anybody's guess.
It really is. I mean, like, if this was game number 1, we might be able to narrow down the strategy a little bit more if the players haven't really seen much of each other yet. But in game number 2, I feel it's just a little bit more open. Ohana, of course, a little bit of a smaller map. So the natural-to-natural distance is a little bit faster, which can lend itself a bit more towards that kind of aggression. We might not necessarily see a long time before these guys choose to engage each other. We're not going to see, like, crazy quick attempts at defending a 3rd hatch if someone's going aggressive or something like that. So it's possible that we see some 2-base timings coming out of these guys. Let's see what happens. We have got Zergling Speed coming out now. First, I believe, for Scarlett, so she will be able to establish that map control a little bit sooner. And mining just the exact amount, 100 gas out of her extractor, and then pulls her drones right out of there, so doesn't want any more gas of right now. Probably see a couple extra queens out of her this game. Maybe see her tech a little bit later here, maybe play a little more defensive. But I like what you're talking about with the natural-to-natural distance. This is a map where it can become extremely passive, and then all of a sudden one player just puts a ton of units in production and marches the, 60 feet or whatever it would be across to their opponent's base. That's a great point. And actually, speaking of march across their opponent's base, one thing to watch out for, especially in a ZvZ, on a small map, might be interesting to see the creep spread. Because if a player intends to go Mutalisks, for example, creep doesn't really benefit them a lot, but if you're going to be trying to get the superior ground army behind that, then that creep spread and that map vision is going to be quite useful. So that's interesting to see as well. But for now, guys, we have got the Baneling Nest going down from Sleep very quickly. Scarlett, with already a ton of Zerglings on the field, building a lot more. She actually has 26 on the field right now. And so she's actually going to try some aggression out. Sleep does have a Baneling Nest finishing up, does not have speed yet. So if Scarlett hits before this Baneling Nest is able to complete, I think Scarlett's going to be in a really good spot to do some damage here. Yeah, Scarlett going for a pure Ling counter to an early Baneling Nest, and oh no, wow, the drones actually on hold position micro there as well, but Scarlett's starting to whittle them down and actually just going to be going for the hatchery, saying, look, if you're not going to let me in here, then I'm going to destroy the hatch and take things from there, and that's going to be a very difficult position for Sleep to get out of. Those queens doing a good job of keeping those Lings up, but in the meantime, Scarlett is going to be taking the natural expansion down. Great moves there from our Acer Zerg. And we actually do have a Roach Horn to follow it up,
so no passivity following it up. And actually looks like a Baneling might get a decent connector, but it's just wiggling out here, man. He just wants to get into the party, but it's just not going to happen. Sleep Zerglings have been in the way this whole time. The Baneling nest, or the Baneling did not go off. Nice micro from Scarlett. Might actually take it out here with just one single Ling, and there's a second Baneling on the way. This Queen is very, very low. Might actually be able to target it down. One Baneling does go off. The second one might go down as well, but no, Scarlett microing beautifully here, not sacrificing too many Zerglings here, but this Baneling is just making me so nervous, man. Scarlett is doing such a great job with her micro.
And good hit finally on that Baneling does mean that the aggression is over for now. Scarlett on 2 base versus Sleeps 1 though, and she already has started producing roaches as a follow-up. So Scarlett on Ohana, we were mentioning that the possibility of early game aggression was quite high on this map with that short distance natural to natural. Going for that very, very quick Speedling attack there, and she is doing a great job against Sleep so far.
Oh man, and Sleep does not have any larvae on the field because he's only down to 1 hatchery, and he used his next ones to build just Zerglings. And right now, Scarlett's going to march across the field again, this time with roaches, and really, Sleep does not have an answer for this. He doesn't have enough larvae on the field to really produce the amount of Zerglings that he's going to need. A couple Banelings are going up towards Scarlett's base. Are they going to be able to get connected? These Zerglings are coming with them as well, but there are so many roaches here that I don't think really Sleep can do anything, and Scarlett is in a really good spot to take this game right now.
Yeah, this counterattack, unfortunately, from Sleep just isn't in a position to get anything done because Scarlett went for those earlier roaches, and those Banelings and Lings, they're just not in sufficient number. I mean, it's great if you get surrounds on all of the roaches, or if they're really clumped up and you get a lot of Baneling hits, but that just isn't the case at this point. We're still dealing with relatively low number of units, and Scarlett is just reasonably ahead right now. She is going to be going for her lair. She's up 54 to 40 supply, and she's considering making a push with these roaches out in the middle of the map.
Wow, and she forced a ton of Zerglings out of her opponent. Right now, 23 Zerglings are on the field for Sleep, but now she has a 10 drone advantage over her opponent. So something very, very nice to note. Scarlett just feigning aggression, nothing crazy. She can basically defend anything that Sleep could throw at her right now with just the Banelings and Zerglings that are on the field with this group of roaches. And looks like Sleep might actually go for some aggression. 14 Zerglings are in production, might hit a timing before Scarlett would be prepared for it.
Oh, and let's see if that ends up happening. Sleep moving it across the map now with a decent number of Lings. But Scarlett's Roach is a little bit offside there, and it looks like, are these Lings going to go straight into the natural? No, he's going to try and surround all the Roaches. Scarlett, to be honest, is in about as good a position as those Roaches can get because they are clumped up, so minimizing that surface area by the Lings. But it looks like Sleep is going to be able to finish them off, and now he's moving into the natural and the main with Banelings as well. Great block by the Queen, delaying him for so long. Is it going to be enough, though?
Oh, no! The Banelings might actually get a nice connector, but no, they're just running their little legs off, trying to get up there. The Queen is going to get targeted down. These Banelings are going to get targeted down by the drones, but they're going straight in the middle line. All these units are so grouped up from Scarlett, and why are these not going off? This is driving me crazy. It looks like you might actually get a couple.
My heart's in my throat, Jan! No! Hits up there. Okay, there we go, and that wasn't great. That really wasn't great. Oh no, the Banelings actually get a lot of drones down to red health. Can the Zerglings finish them off though? And yes, Sleep is continuously streaming more Lings in here. So it looks like the Banelings, while they don't actually get the world's best connects, they actually bring a lot of the drones to red health, and the remaining Lings should be able to eventually come in here and clean this up.
Yeah, Scarlett down to 33 supply right now, has lost 25 drones right now, so this is basically
GG.
Wow. That is really crazy to think about. Scarlett losing to Sleep 2-0.
My heart's still in my throat from watching those two Banelings. That was actually insane.
My favorite part about that is the fact that Sleep had them in his grasp the whole time. He had them selected, but he wasn't using them. I know.
He didn't want to run. And just for a moment, there was Scarlett was chasing one of the Banelings with 4 drones. I was like, that's not what you want to do. But unfortunately, guys, Scarlett, that means she's going to go down 2-0. And I think the key point of that engagement that maybe we didn't talk about as much during the game because we were watching those Banelings after all, was that Sleep was following that up with rounds of Zerglings. So he wasn't droning up behind it trying to poke it and see what damage he could do. He was actually going for it full tilt. And that's what enabled him to take that game in the end. So very, very well played to him there. Those two Banelings, of course, if anything, were the distraction to the rest of the Lings flowing in. And what started off as a really good Zergling attack from Scarlett in that game number 2, it has to be said, turned into a really good Zergling counterattack from Sleep.
Yeah, I mean, those roaches, like you were talking about, were in a great spot. They had very minimal surface area, but she just didn't have enough to hold.
So, guys, that's going to do it for this particular series. Sleep taking a 2-0 victory over Scarlett here at IPL 5. This was, of course, the winner's bracket, which means that Scarlett will be able to continue her tournament run in the lower bracket. Stacked tournament everywhere you look, though, and it's very, very tough. But Scarlett is one of those players that might just be able to pull it off. We'll find out later. For now, guys, we're going to a quick commercial break. This is Jarasar.
And I'm Jay Morrow.
And we'll be getting back to you with the next best of 3 in just a while. Don't go anywhere.